Wonderland Gardens was originally part of Lot 37, Concession B, Westminster Township. The original patent was received on November the 19th, 1835, by Sarah Asseltine of Kingston, who was given land because she was a daughter of a loyalist. She never settled on the land. Anyway, so we jump 100 years. When Wonderland Summer Gardens was opened on 25 acres of land on the south bank of the Thames River, and it cost $18,000 to build. The opening act was CFRD recording artist and native Londoner Mickey McDougall and his 10-piece orchestra, which included Harry Carpenter on trumpet, Harold Corey on drums, Bill Kelly on sax, Bobby Leach on trumpet, Cliff Locke on trombone, Mickey McDougall on sax, Billy McClintock on vocals, Jimmy Moore on sax, Tiny Smith on piano, and, Roy Somerville on sax, and George Upshaw on bass. So Wonderland Gardens was created by Charles Franklin Jones and his younger brother T. Wilford Jones on the site of the Wonderland Tourist Camp, a municipally owned campground established in September 1890 by Captain C.M. Foster, a Port Royal shipbuilder. He had a dancing shed and a lodge built. The Canadian Order of Foresters was the first group to picnic at the camp, accompanied by the infantry school band from Wolseley Barracks. In 1922, the camp was converted to a motor camp, where travelers could erect tents. I wondered what the bucket was in the foreground here, but I think it's a garbage bucket. And you can see some of the buildings in the background there. An open-air jitney dance hall opened on the campgrounds where people would pay 5 cents a dance. Unfortunately, that dance hall burned down in 1946. In 1927, the Riverview Inn was moved from its location on property that was acquired in 1926, the year before, adjoining the camp. So the camp expanded a bit. And the inn was placed in a better position on the campgrounds, where it was equipped as a general store, a reading and recreation room, with a section reserved for office use. Gasoline service was also added at this time, so kind of with more and more people using cars. Wonderland Summer Gardens was so named to distinguish it from Winter Gardens at 295 309 Queens Avenue. In 1931, the Jones brothers relocated their Hudson Essex auto sales business from 374 to 378 Dundas Street to the Winter Gardens. Now, this is an earlier photograph. The Jones brothers were in the car business from 1924 to 1933. Before that, William H. Baines, manager of the Winter Gardens since 1923, had operated this sales shop here. And the original photograph of this, you can actually see his name underneath where it says orchestra. It says W.H. Baines, manager. So this was a auto sales place by day and a dancing hall at night. It actually had its start in 1882 as the Princess Skating Rink. As owners of the Winter Gardens, the Jones promoted other sources of information and entertainment, I should say. The first professional wrestling match in London, as well as boxing matches and other musical entertainments. Now here's a name most of you will know from musical circles in London, Guy Lombardo, and the Royal Canadians. Now, I didn't know this, but perhaps some of you did. The original name of his band was the Winter Gardens Orchestra, and then they changed it shortly after to the Royal Canadians. I think maybe when they went to the States, I'm not sure. Anyway, the band played their last set in London at the Winter Gardens on November the 23rd, 1923, before leaving for Cleveland, Ohio. That wasn't their last time they were in London, and we'll hear more about them later. Guy's first big job was at the Winter Gardens in 1922, and his band was the first Canadian band hired, and they played weekends. This building was demolished in April 1937, and at that time, Wonderland Summer Gardens dropped the word summer from its name because there were no winter gardens, so it was just known as Wonderland Gardens. And on this site today, well actually, it's still there. The new Central Library would be erected and officially opened on this site October 4th, 1940. So, back to Charles Jones and Wonderland Gardens. Charles Jones had a deep love for big band music. He felt that London would benefit from a well-run dance pavilion, providing music throughout the summer. He was offered several sites to build Wonderland, but he set his sights on a large parcel of swampland in the country at that time, for two reasons. One, there was easy streetcar access, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment, and the natural beauty with the river, and the trees, and the banks, and hills, little hills, and that sort of thing. The electric railway transportation had been running into Springbank since May 23rd, 1896. Ironically, this was one of the major reasons he decided on that particular site. Ironically, streetcar service ceased the next year on May 1st, 1936. I think another kind of victim of perhaps the growing automobile business. In 1929, Charles had obtained a lease on the property from the Public Utilities Commission and began to clear roads and dig sewers for the future ballroom. So this is the Wonderland Summer Gardens under construction, 1935. Now, these two gentlemen weren't identified, but they were in a collection that was given to the London Room by the Jones family, so I'm assuming that possibly they're the Jones brothers. I've not seen a picture of either one of them, but I'm assuming that's probably who they are. So, Charles loved nature and designed his pavilion so that most of the trees were left intact. When Wonderland Gardens opened, it was considered a large financial gamble, as it competed with the popular municipally owned Springbank Park Dance Hall, which had opened 20 years earlier on June 17, 1915, and had additional attractions such as the arcade and the Ferris wheel. But the gardens survived. Nestled in the natural beauty of gardens and trees, it began as an outdoor venue. The gardens quickly became a popular spot, operating 6 nights a week for indoor and outdoor dancing, and later on, fine dining. Couples loved moving on the 6,000 square foot outdoor green Italian terrazzo marble floor. That's very pretty. Encircled by a 10-foot wide red marble tile promenade. Okay, the terrazzo marble was laid and supplied by a local company, Bernardo Marble Terrazzo and Tile Company Limited, located at 79 Maitland Street. The bandshell and organ loft anchored one end, and a tiered Spanish fountain featuring a gnome through whose head water sprayed atop a flower urn with a goldfish pond beneath, anchored the other end. The orchestra performed on a stage set in a Spanish-style bungalow with the bandshell built to proper acoustical specifications. At one end was the refectory, and the other end was the ladies' washroom. Exposed beams, green trim, red tile roofs, which were actually steel, and simulated white stucco walls gave the Spanish flair to the outdoor dance pavilion, which also operated as an open-air theater. The back portion was a temporary lean-to structure that could be detached, enhancing the romantic aspect of the dance floor. And there's lots of stories, and I'm sure some of you have danced there, etc. Lots of stories of couples dancing that night under the stars. The Art Deco landscape included lavish gardens linked by footpaths to a Hollywood-style swimming pool, with running and diving boards, lounge chairs, big slides, and umbrellas. The pool was filled with 160,000 gallons of pure spring-fed water. Crowds would fill the bleachers when synchronized swim shows were staged here. The change rooms and clothes check were 3 curtain-draped streetcars. And somebody told me that if they weren't necessarily completely private, because there were little slits, I guess, that you could look through. When the cars were purchased for the city, tracks were laid from the original rail line, and the cars were rolled down and inclined into position. One of these streetcars can still be seen at the Halton Radio Railway Museum in Campbellville near Guelph. So pool memberships at $5 for the whole season were a standard graduation gift. A miniature lake was also created around which were placed rustic benches and seats. Evergreen shrubs were trimmed into animal shapes and ornate spirals. Winding paths led across wooden bridges through rock gardens and surrounding woods. There was even a 10-foot high pedestal platform that overlooked the river. Did I say pedestal? Oh. Pedestal urns linked by thick ropes separated the dance floor from the promenade. Rope boys cleared the dance floor between dances. No amusement booths were built within the grove so as to maintain its natural beauty. A dock was constructed to accommodate those arriving by boat. And they seemed to have thought of everything. Special policing ensured the safety of dance patrons. Because after all, they were out in the country, and often dances went to 11 or 12 at midnight. It was a nickel per dance, but crafty patrons learned to lick their tickets so it would stick to the top of the collection box for easy retrieval. That's getting 2 dances for the price of 1. There was no charge for those who chose just to watch and listen. Now, Charles had a large war canoe, and bands would board the canoe with their instruments and play up and down the river. He also owned a 34-passenger inboard boat, 2 canvas-top punts, and paddle boats as well. During the April 26, 1937 flood, the Thames River rose 4 feet up the sides of the bandshell. So you can see the bandshells back in the trees in the water. This is all flooded. You know, if you go out there now, it's amazing to look down the river. It's way down. But, I mean, the river rose almost 30 feet above normal. But Wonderland Gardens survived the flood. Undeterred, the Jones brothers built 2 gardens that year to serve coffee, pop, and sandwiches. An outside staircase led to a rooftop garden and a small summer penthouse for Will. In 1941, after 17 out of 20 Sundays had been rained out the previous year, Charles built a large covered entertainment hall as an addition to the outdoor bandshell at the gardens. The new facility opened on May 20th, with Jimmy Namero playing in the open portion and Bubs Jameson in the closed portion. Chandeliers with thousands of twinkling lights hung from the ceiling, and in the middle hung a huge crystal ball. Charles built 9 cabins up the hill in the grove, now the site of the Rainer Rose Garden, with a dining hall, showers, and central washrooms as seasonal accommodation for resident band members and their families. I thought that was rather progressive. Sort of like a modern little motel out there. Charles' brother Wilf was a visible partner, a real showman who introduced the entertainers and made regular appearances on stage to speak to the crowds. Tall, thin, and immaculately dressed in a tuxedo, Wilf set the tone for dance at the dance hall. Jackets and ties for men, and dresses for the ladies. He was strict about decorum and did not hesitate to tell risque dancers to leave if they continued their inappropriate behavior. After all, it was the 1930s. World War II came along, and it actually boosted business for the Wonderland Gardens, because conveniently, right across the river was the Thames Valley Golf Course, which during the war was a camp, training camp for soldiers. And of course, the soldiers were trained during the day, and at night, they would cross the old footbridge to dance at the gardens. And even during the 40s, the nickel was you could afford a nickel probably to go dancing. Most of the well-known bands played at Wonderland during the 40s, including the Dorsey Brothers, Woody Herman, and of course Guy Lombardo. Prominent local bands that performed at Wonderland included those led by Johnny Downs, Neil McKay, Ted Putney, and Lionel Thornton. So in July 1946, Mark Kenny and the Western Gentlemen attracted a crowd of 4,000 people. I'm thinking, my goodness, where did they put them all? In 1950, this was really progressive. Charles imported a large screen television. Now I think television, from England, I think television had only been around for, I think maybe a year or two at that point. I mean, it was fairly new. I don't think anybody, at least in that part of London, even had a television. Of course, that wasn't London, that was Westminster Township. Anyway, he imported this large screen television set from England. And their family home was across the road at Wonderland Gardens, and he installed this 33-meter aerial. I think that's pretty high.
100 feet.
Yeah. And laid a cable. I mean, this man was really progressive and innovative. I think there's somebody at the door. Oh, no, they're for the next program, sorry. That's a couple of things going on in the next room. Anyway, he laid a cable to a cabin on a little island behind the tea gardens. And he named the island TV Island. And of course, people would come and watch television. Because most people didn't ever TV. Anyway, by 1956, the gravel driveway leading into the gardens from Springbank Drive, had evolved into the Wonderland side road, which went south into Westminster Township. In 1959, the entertainment hall was completely enclosed and insulated, allowing Wonderland to run events year-round. The area around the gardens became part of London in 1961. Later acts included the Hawthorne Good Times Band, featuring John Hodson, who played 25 consecutive New Year's Eve celebrations. And we'll hear about him later as well. Well, as his sons Chuck and Donald began to grow up, Charles gave him a free hand in running the business. Don was just 15 when he started booking the big bands. With his promotional skills and experience, Dan brought in rock bands to appeal to a younger audience. He was a young man himself. So Fridays became teenage dance night. Local acts included Grant Smith and the Power, George Oliver and Natural Gas, in London's version of Battle of the Bands. The shows were always billed as a dance, not a concert. After all, who would just want to go and sit and listen? All the chairs would be taken out of the ballroom, and the side doors opened up to accommodate anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 patrons. For the Schools Out dance for 1968, Don hired the American band, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, whose song Fire was then #1. Brown was a one-hit wonder whose band broke up and the manager split with the money, leaving Brown stranded in New York the day before they were to play at Wonderland. So, but not to be deterred, Don hired a cover band, wired an airline ticket from New York to Toronto, arranged a private plane to fly Brown from Toronto to London, and had Brown escorted by police through London to get into the show on time. After all, the show must go on. Or the dance. That same year, August 28, 1968, Sly and the Family Stone performed at the Gardens. An agent had sold the show to the Gardens for $1,250, and Charles had sent a $625 deposit. So that's half the amount. On the day of the concert, the band showed up with no equipment. The equipment had crossed the border, but not arrived in London. So Don hustled up alternate equipment, and the show went on. After 45 minutes of a 75-minute show, the band left the stage and did not return. The Jones never paid the balance of the money. They only got half the show. And the equipment truck had broken down outside of Tilbury. The driver sold the equipment on the spot and took off. On August 16th and 17th, the next year, 1969, the Jones held a 2-day pop festival with 2 stages, headlined the first night by the American musician Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, followed by Cat Mother and the All Night Newsboys, and an unknown light-popping five-man rock band from Arizona, Alice Cooper, unknown at the time. Now, Frank Zappa was so enthralled with the location that he insisted a boat be set up so he could water ski, which he did. Still haven't even get pictures of this, but maybe somebody's got pictures out there somewhere. Man, Frank Zappa water skiing down the Thames River. Now, Alice Cooper, he was paid $700 for his performance in 1969. Worked over fluffy pillows and used industrial fans to spray the audience with feathery down. Strange even back then. People were always trying to beat the cover charge. Many climbed over or ducked under the fence, and some even swam through the river. Excuse me. In 1971, the drinking age was lowered from 21 to 19. This marked the end of the teen dances since older teens could then go to the bars. On August 24th, 1971, the English rock trio, Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, attracted a record 4,000 people to the gardens. About 400 of the 500 people who came to see Jerry Lee Lewis at the Gardens on October 8, 1971, thought they were going to see country singer Jerry Lee. I suppose they'd be a little disappointed. Also in 1971, Tiny Tim played at the Gardens for the London Optimist, and the English hard rock band Deep Purple drew close to 4,000 fans to the Gardens. After his father's death, on June 21st, 1971, Charles Jr., or Chuck, took over the management of the Gardens. Now here's a little interesting tidbit I didn't know. Just a little personal story, 2 weeks ago, I was in St. Jacobs, and just for a weekend away, and found out that this person actually grew up in St. Jacobs, and he was married at the Gardens in 1971. And the person is hockey great Darryl Sittler and his wife Wendy. So, I want to talk about the bridge, of course, Guy Lombardo Bridge. When the bridge which linked Hudson Side Road, north of the Thames River, to Wonderland Road, south of the Thames River, opened on November the 16th, 1978, it was named after Guy Lombardo, who had died the year before, November 5th, 1977, in Houston, Texas. The decision to name the bridge after Lombardo was based on the myth that Lombardo and his band, the Royal Canadians, played many of their first engagements at Wonderland Gardens. In truth, Lombardo had visited the Gardens in 1950, but only performed at the Gardens twice. Once on June 13th, 1963, more than 30 years, after he became famous. Now, in all the research I did, I never did come across the date when he was there the second time. They just said he performed twice. Once on June 13th, 1963. Anyway, the traffic would back up as crowds of Londoners flocked to hear Guy Lombardo. The Jones brothers were close friends of the Lombardos. Shortly after the Guy Lombardo Museum opened on May 19, 1984, on the west side of Wonderland Road, north of Spring Lake Drive, the first annual Guy Lombardo Ball was held at the nearby gardens. Again, I never heard of another Guy Lombardo Ball. Maybe it just fizzled, I'm not sure. The Gardens also hosted the Royal Canadian Big Band Festival for many years, and I'm sure a number of you remember that and probably attended. The first festival was held at the Victoria Park Bandshell on August 1st, 1985, and was organized by Colonel Tom Lawson and Tyrone Traer. In 1997, big bands returned weekly to the Gardens, the first time since the 1970s. Opening night on Sunday, November the 2nd, was billed as the Big Band Bash, and featured 3 local bands. The Old Sherry Big Band of St. Thomas, that had been formed in 1967, the London Jazz Orchestra had been formed in 1989, and the Moonlighters, which had been formed in 1985. I will wait for another slide. In its last days, Wonderland evolved from a dance hall into a convention and dining facility. In 1983, owner Chuck Jones negotiated a 20-year lease from the city-owned land in order to build the Riverview restaurant on the site of the Tea Gardens, the original snack bar. Each year, he would pay $15,000 or 3% of the gross receipts, whichever was greater, to the City of London. When the lease expired, the buildings were to be turned over to the city. Parking was also provided for the nearby Guy Lombardi Museum and the London Rowing Club. Wonderland had not been supported by any public funds. The 90-seat, $100,000 restaurant opened in August 1984 with dozens of old Wonderland photographs covering the walls. Many of those who went to the teen dances then returned to the Riverview to attend functions such as banquets, corporate parties, and wedding receptions. And I actually was there in 1984. I think we had I was there for some library school function, a dinner we went there. So I remember that place. I don't remember dancing anywhere, but anyway, on August 24th, 1987, a fire caused by a coffee machine left on after closing caused about $100,000 damage to the Riverview. The restaurant reopened a few weeks later. And one of my assistants said that was the year she and her husband were getting married, and they had booked the Riverview 2 months before it burned. And they woke up and read the paper, and they had to find another place. They booked it 2 months, yeah, well, whatever. They had to find another place. They were supposed to be at the Riverview. Anyway, another little piece of trivia from 1989. Canadian rocker Kim Mitchell allegedly came up with the title for his 1989 song, Rockland Wonderland, during a stint at the Gardens. So now we jump ahead a little bit. When the lease came up for renewal in 2003, the city insisted on a hefty increase in fees to reflect fair market value. Jones refused and retired from the business, closing Wonderland on January 1st, 2004, and putting the contents up for auction at 6 p.m. on January 14th. Just before I talk about the auction, the Gardens at the time had employed 100 people, 30 of them full-time. The last big band to play at the Gardens was the Moonlighters. They were there before. On Sunday, December 21st, more than 500 people, mostly seniors, attended. The very last band to play there was Hawthorne, a rock band that had retired in 1999 was brought back for the 2002 New Year's Eve celebrations. And that had been the band that had played for 25 years in a row every New Year's Eve celebration there. So, back to the auction. I thought I'd just list off a few things that were auctioned that I thought was rather interesting. So included in the auction, which was done by Kingsley Gardner, were a 5-meter-tall, fully decorated Christmas tree, enormous jars filled with pickles, and you see those big industrial kind of jars, Riverview restaurant and bar signs, 2 illuminated snowmen, 3 30-year-old mirrored balls which hung over the dance floor, and 8 bottles of prune juice. I wonder who got those. Donuts. Wasn't me. Anyway, so they auctioned everything off, and then it sat empty for 2.5 years. And unfortunately, on August 29th, 2005, the dance pavilion at the Gardens was destroyed by a suspected electrical fire. The outdoor pavilion and the former Riverview restaurant survived the fire, but were damaged and later demolished. On February the 20th, 2006, the City of London decided to turn Wonderland Gardens into a public park. Even though it was on city-owned property, it was a private enterprise run by the Jones family. The dilapidated chain-link fence, which had stood for 71 years, was removed. Neglected walkways restored, and the long-vacated pool replaced with picnic tables and trees. Working from old postcard pictures, which I had some up there, Maholter and Nicholson Sheffield architects designed Springbank Gardens, which opened on Sunday, June 8, 2008. And just a little thing here, Maholter and Nicholson were the same, they were the architects for the building we're in. which we opened in 2002. So 6 years later, we designed Springland Gardens. There was an agreement between the City of London and the Jones family that there would be a new name for the renovated park, since the Jones family owned the name, Wonderland Gardens. Located on the site now is the Wonderland Gardens band shell, a replica of the original band shell with an arched pine and cedar roof, and the outdoor Guy Lombardo pavilion, similar to the original ballroom. Unfortunately, the original marble floor, damaged by fire trucks during the 2005 blaze, was replaced with a concrete slab glass. The fountain remains in place in the middle of the floor. The Riverview restaurant was replaced with a concession stand operated by Coppa di Gelato, offering Italian ice cream and sandwiches. The ice cream's good, I tried it. The gardens are open to the public, but the band shell, concession stand, outdoor dance floor, and pavilion can be fenced off for private functions. The main entrance to the gardens has been shifted to the east of the band shell, and there's now a wide path through the garden and trees to get to it. The buildings retain their signature red tile roofs and white stucco walls. I'm not sure if I have another slide or not. Nope, that's it. Okay. Now, believe it or not, the Jones family is still in the entertainment business. Is there anybody here from the Jones family? Okay. Not that I'd say anything embarrassing, but I just wondered. Today, Charles' son, Don, focuses primarily on CBC radio host and best-selling author Stuart McLean of the Vinyl Cafe, who he has been managing since 1999. The third generation brothers, Brad and Greg Jones, are advancing their legacy through an agency called the Jones Entertainment Group, located at 550 Wellington Street. President Brad Jones personally manages the touring careers of distinguished artists such as Cirque Sublime, never heard of them, the Rankin Sisters, I've heard of, and Roche Voisin, heard of him too. Anyway, Vice President, his brother, Greg, has been managing Canada's most loved children's author, Robert Munch, since 2004, touring over 25 cities across Canada per year. Brad and Greg are also the masterminds behind London's biggest annual classic rock festival and Bethany's Hope fundraiser, Rock the Park. Since July 22nd, 2004, when they had the first Rock the Park, the Joneses have filled Harris Park with 30,000 fans each year, bringing the total funds raised for the Bethany's Hope to more than $1 million.